Many people are still struggling to hold on to their homes and keep their finances afloat as they work to recover from economic troubles.
Some have considered filing for bankruptcy, but don't know how to go about it or whether it will do them any good at all. Jonathan Smith from Advantage Legal Group is here to help us shed some light on the subject and also tell us when someone might actually benefit from declaring bankruptcy. Thanks for coming back.
Thank you for having me here this morning. Appreciate it. Yeah, there are usually like 3 types of bankruptcies that individuals consider. First is the Chapter 7 bankruptcy, then there's the Chapter 13, and then possibly a Chapter 11. The Chapter 7 is really the one that most people think about when they think about bankruptcy. It's the one that's over very quickly. It's over in about 90 days in most cases, but you must first qualify for bankruptcy under the new law since 2005. And the first qualification that we always look at is whether or not the person's gross income or the couple's gross income is below the median for Western Washington. And that is set at $52,724 for an individual with no dependents. That's gross income. That's before taxes, not after taxes. So for a couple, there is a bit of a marriage penalty here. It's now at $65,123 for a couple. So if your gross income for the last 6 months, you add it up, you divide by 6 to get the monthly average, multiply by 12, and if that number is below these 2 bright line rule, you qualify for a Chapter 7. Now, if you're a little above that, we can usually work you down under that line through the means test, is what that's called. And then for every dependent that you have, that's not children under 18, it's dependent. You can have dependents well into their 20s or elderly parents or things like that who are dependents. You get to add about $9,000 more. So a family of 4 might be at $84,000 gross income.
So those aren't cut and dried.
Yeah, it's very, as with lawyers, it's always a little bit blurry.
And you can't have filed in the past 8 years.
Yeah, it used to be 7 years, so people still think it's 7, but that changed in 2005 to 8 years. So then what people always want to know is, well, I don't want to do a bankruptcy because I don't want to lose everything.
There are some exemptions, things that you can't hold on to.
So you don't have to, you're not completely at the mercy of the law. You have,
well, you are, but most people don't lose. People think they lose everything, that somebody's going to show up at their house and cart away their TVs and their cars and their homes and this sort of thing, and that's not what happens at all.
Not the TV, please, not the TV.
Not the TV. The Congress has given you some exemptions. At the top of the list here, we have the homestead exemption, which is the Washington state. You can either do the state exemptions or the federal exemptions. You can't mix them. It's either one or the other.
Does that mean you hold on to your home at any value?
Well, no. You get $125,000 under the Washington state exemptions of equity in your home. So if the home is worth $250,000 and your loan is at $125,000, you have $125,000 exemption, so you can keep the house. You won't lose it.
And it looks like there's other things like
then the federal exemptions are below that. They're a bit lower, but most people these days don't have any equity. So yeah, you have $24,000 for household goods and furnishings, $3,100 for jewelry for a couple, and then they have it split between individuals and couples. And then most importantly, they have a wild card here, which is $12,725 or $25,450 that can be applied to anything.
Oh, anything at all.
Money in the bank.
Obviously, I'm sorry, not to be taken lightly at all, though. When would it be a good idea to go for bankruptcy?
If you find yourself in a position that's just not changing, if you're finding that you're being foreclosed, if they're suing you, if you're being called and harassed at work and at home constantly, if it's interfering with your life, if it's interfering with your relationships. #1 cause of divorce is what? Financial problems. If you're drawing down your retirement accounts every month to make ends meet, retirement accounts are 100% exempt. You could have several $100,000 in your retirement accounts and they can't touch a penny of it. So it's always a shame to see retired people pulling down
using those
funds to try and keep these bills paid when they really shouldn't. So yeah, that's when.
All right, there's so much more. We've posted more information online about Advantage Legal Group, including how they can help you figure out the best way to decide whether you should file for bankruptcy. As you can see, it's not cut and dried. And we'll stay on course tomorrow. Jonathan will return to New Day to share how to avoid foreclosure, lower your mortgage, and save your home.
Thanks, Jonathan.